Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Rye Town Park Commission meeting of April 18th, 2023. Please rise and join the board for Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Deb, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Lindsay Jackson.
Here.
Acting Commissioner Joan Grosjean-Thomas. Here. Commissioner Josh Cohn.
Here.
Commissioner Emily Hurd.
Here.
Commissioner Jason Klein.
Here.
President Zuckerman.
I'm here too. Minutes of March 21, 2023. Unless there are any additions or corrections, may I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Public comment on non-agenda items? Of course.
Hi, I'm Diana Page. I'm the president of the Friends of Rye Town Park, and I just wanted to visit tonight to update you on a few things that we've done. First, the Daffodil Hill is in full bloom. If you guys have seen it on Instagram, or hopefully even better seen it in real life, it looks really beautiful. We added about, I think, 8,000 daffodils last year to the 22,000 we had planted the year before. So just people are there visiting, all hours of the day. They're really excited about it, taking lots of pictures. They love it. Also, last November, we had a volunteer event where we planted daffodils at the Dearborn corner, and those are also in bloom, so it looks really pretty. I hope you'll come see it. The Friends made an investment in the Dearborn corner garden. We added cobblestone, it's called Belgian block border to that garden because the dirt used to just kind of wash right onto the sidewalk, and so this tidied it up. So that has just gone in and looks lovely, and the garden's been replanted for the season. We will get to the other gardens around the exterior of the park and a couple inside the park in the next few weeks. The Charlie Northshield outdoor classroom, which you, I'm sure, remember, looks great so far. The walls and the teak bench are in. The trees will be planted in the next couple weeks, and the gardens, both in front of the wall and the garden bed right next to it, will be planted by mid-May. And then lastly, I know it's later on the agenda, but if you like, I'll just cover it now. The Dogs and Daffodils event is scheduled for this Saturday, 9 to 11 a.m. 9 o'clock is when the dogs have to be back on their leash. So dogs will be welcome, but only on leash at this event. But we're hoping to kind of meet all of the folks who come and use the park with their dogs in the mornings and get to know them. There'll be free coffee and donuts while supplies last. We'll have some of our Rye Town Park honey for sale. And we will have a couple of photographers. One of them, I just use an iPhone, but I take pretty good pictures with it. So we'll take pictures of people with their families, their dogs, whatever they'd like, with the daffodils as a background. And we just kind of want to get to meet the community, so we hope people will come. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Diana. And thank you to the Friends and all that you do. And I understand from speaking with Vic, we're actually going to be installing those showers very soon. So hopefully that will go smoothly. While we're on upcoming events, Debbie, do you want to fill in the rest of them? We have the community cleanup, etc.
What he's getting there, I highly recommend the Rye Town Park honey. It's very good.
I'm like getting to the bottom of my little jar, and
I
so
was
I'm
like,
so glad to
maybe.
know.
So am I, and I can't be here, but can I buy a jar? Thank you. All right. I'm good for it. Good. So I'm going to start with giving some attention to the annual community conversation, which is coming up on Saturday, May 20th. It will be under the pavilions from 10 a.m. to noon. And looking forward to having all of our commissioners there and members of the community come and talk about whatever's on their mind. And I'm going to invite Brian Sullivan to talk about the community cleanup.
Yes, so we'll be having our spring community cleanup again this April 29th. It's going to be held at 5 different locations in the town. The Portchester Marina, the Posillipo's Center in Rybrook, which is the old folks home, or not old folks home, but the community center. No offense meant. Love the old people.
Oh,
Down in Mamaroneck and Rhinebeck, we'll have cleanup at the Tompkins Bridge in Rye Town, right here at Crawford Park. There's going to be some planting. And then down at near Playland at the Edith Reed Wildlife Sanctuary, there's going to be some cleanup.
that's in the city.
Yes, in the city of Rye. So yeah, any interested parties, you know, we invite you to go to the Town of Rye website, townofrye.com. There is information on how to sign up. And yeah, we'd love to have more volunteers and bring a friend.
I'd also like to get more circulation if we could ask the mayors of Rybrook, City of Rye, and Portchester to maybe do a blast with the community cleanup poster. That would be great. That would, everybody would see it.
Chris, yeah.
All right, can we do that?
You can go on our website.
Yeah, so,
Yeah, I think we may have put it out via our sustainability committee already, but we can, yeah, absolutely.
so Deb, you can call Greg Usry and Chris Bradbury and Stu Rabin and see if we can get it circulated.
Sure. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Brian.
So the next event, you know, I'm not looking at the calendar in order, but on May 21st, so the day after our community conversation, the Soul Riders half marathon and 5K race will be coming up as well. So those are upcoming events.
Well, there's one here, Deb, you didn't mention, Rye Arts in the Park
Yes.
on May 6th and 7th.
When Chris is presenting, he will be talking about Arts in the Park. That's coming up too.
Okay, good. Thank you. Next item is a resolution regarding seeker and the beach sand replacement. This is sort of a combination resolution. The commissioners have previously received the EAF Parts 1, 2, and 3, and I'm sure everybody has studied them closely. And this resolution to replenish the beach sand lost to Tropical Storm Ida. It also includes restoring the coping on the seawall that runs north from Dearborn Avenue and installing a code-compliant fencing above that restored coping. Those two parts of the project will not be completed or even started until we receive appropriate funding from grants that we've applied for. But the DEC had recommended that since it's all near the beach, that we do request a permit and do the seeker, combining all of those items. So basically, the resolution is, since 30 days have elapsed since we sent out a notice to declare the commission as lead agency, we declare ourselves lead agency under SECRA, and that the proposed action will not have any significant adverse impacts on the environment, and that essentially this is a negative declaration, that no environmental impact statement needs to be prepared, and this completes the SECRA process. Are there any questions or comments? If not, may I have a
Oh, I just had a couple of questions, just for, I remember that I know that there's additional work, the coping, but the sand, this is something I think when we were going through the budget that we noticed had gone up considerably every year.
This is not the same.
This is not.
No, this is a FEMA grant.
Right, I know, but I'm just,
This is actually saving us the funds that we would normally spend to level the beach.
right,
Instead, we're going to do this.
we're adding sand. And we've done this before and not recently,
No,
adding sand.
yes, this sand is to replace the sand and the lost shoreline due to Hurricane Ida. And this is as a result of a FEMA grant that we got totaling $260,000.
So that's my second question, but so to answer that question, so this will be covered by FEMA,
Yes.
which is a 10% match?
No
No
match.
match, okay. But no, I'm just speaking about we have filled sand in the beach before.
We have,
And I know that it was much cheaper than the amount that it is costing now.
because I don't remember the exact amount, we're getting 1,400 cubic yards
So it's
of
more.
sand, which, if you know what a tractor trailer looks like,
Yeah.
we're gonna have like 15 of them.
Wow. And how do we
So-
get it down there?
The contractor will bring it there and dump it, and the provider will. And the contractor that we will award a contract to tonight
Right?
will spread the sand.
Okay, and then my other question is just, so Dolph Rotfeld has provided a summary here. 2 bids were received, so I'm just trying to understand his role. I'm thinking in the city of Rye, when we go out for bids, so is he acting like we do it directly? So it seems like he's acting like a,
He's acting as your city engineer would act.
okay, and so we just contract with him on that basis?
Right, and part of his cost is included in the $260,000.
Okay. And-
I also wanted to add that FEMA and FEMA's requirements in the tropical storm Ida round was we had to have an engineer involved.
Okay, fantastic.
I just wanted to add to that, the sand will be delivered by the vendor who has the Westchester County contract.
Okay.
That will be Carreri's responsibility to deliver the sand. And once the sand is in place, on the end of the Dearborn seawall, beyond the emergency exit of the condominium, then it will be Casale's job to get that sand, hoist it over the wall, and then spread it.
Wow, so will he dump it on the ground there?
Yeah, the sand will be on the pavement, actually.
Wow.
Yeah,
That sounds like.
Without damage to the coping of the new one.
Right.
exactly.
One-
Or responsible for fixing it, yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, part of the cost will be for the Rye City Police Department, because
It's gonna be a massive.
the number of trucks will be there, and it will be delivered during the weekday, so there will be school, and, children involved in the area, so the police will be exercising jurisdiction and for safety.
Got it. Great.
So this is actually a pretty big operation,
Yeah, it sounds like it.
so,
What is the timing?
well,
You mean,
that's another
when are we
thing.
gonna start, you mean timing?
What's the?
As soon as we get our permits, we'll know what we're looking at.
Okay.
The timing, the closer we get to the beach season, the more complicated it gets.
Can we, all right, I'll, as soon as we do the resolution, then I'll go into the question that you asked, okay? Motion and a second, please.
I'll make a motion. Second.
Debbie, please call the roll.
Yeah, was that Joe? Yeah, okay. Commissioner Jackson?
Yes.
Acting Commissioner Gresham Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Cohn?
Yes.
Commissioner Hurd?
Yes.
Commissioner Klein?
Yes.
President Zuckerman?
Yes, all right. To magnify what's happening, we need to get permits from the DEC, Department of Environmental Conservation, and a consistency permit from the City of Rye. I had written this in an email, but just for public information, James Nattarelli, our engineer with Dolph Rothfeld's firm, and I appeared last Tuesday before the Rye City Planning Commission to present the plan, answered questions, et cetera. And we expect that at their meeting next Tuesday, they will issue the appropriate permit. As far as the DEC is concerned, I had attached in my last email to you a copy of their notice of incomplete application. James had filed the application. We knew that that they would have questions. The largest question is they needed completion of secret, which we have now done. They also asked for a paperwork determining, if you can believe this, the kind of sand that we were putting on the beach and its size, et cetera, which we have, and actually the specifications of the sand, which we will be sending to them, along with a copy of the secret resolution. And then there was a question, because you will recall we've done this before. We have something called terns, common terns at the beach, and they have a nesting season between April and September. And technically, we're not supposed to do any work during that period. However, we can get an exception if we show that the amount of noise is a certain level, below a certain level above ambient, which our park director is determining through an app as to what the ambient levels are, and the engineer will then submit that the noise is not above that level. So those are the questions that the DEC asked, basically those three things. And hopefully, we'll promptly get a DEC permit. There is a waiting period. We have to have a notice in the paper after they tell us the application is complete. So hopefully that will occur soon, and we'll be able to move forward. Any questions about that process? Working with the DEC is, actually, it's not as bad this time as, if you will recall, what we went through with the ramps, and we had meetings with DEC over Zoom with the assistant commissioner and questioning this and that. But hopefully this will go a lot smoother and we'll get the sand in. Related to that, just FYI, the beach mats have been ordered and will be installed hopefully within the next couple of weeks before the beach opens. We've decided to go forward with installing the beach mats. We don't know when we'll be able to put the sand in. And if you'll notice from the resolution approving the bid award to Casale, that bid is good for 2023 and 2024. So if we can't get it installed for any reason, like the common turns or whatever, this year, we'll install it next year. But we're going to put the mats down anyway. The worst that will happen, if we can get it, the new sand installed, we'll take up the mats, put the sand in, and reinstall them. So that's what the plan is. As they say, the best laid plans of mice and men, but we'll try. Okay, the next item, of course, is a resolution to approve the placement of the beach sand to Tony Casale Incorporated of Yonkers for a total bid price of $126,425. As Emily mentioned, there were two bids, and he was the lowest responsible bidder. And James is familiar with Casale's other work, and he's an excellent contractor. So may I have a motion and a second to award the placement of the sand to Tony Casale?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Jackson,
Yes.
Commissioner Frazier-Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Cone,
Yes.
Commissioner Hurd,
Yes.
Commissioner Klein,
Yes.
President Zuckerman.
Yes. Thank you all. And our last resolution is regarding the Barley Beach House. And we have a couple of, one, let's talk about the, Chris, you want to make your presentation and about the menu changes, et cetera, whatever we need to decide here? It's a pretty menu. It's a pretty menu.
Yeah, it's making me hungry. Thank goodness the pretzels are still on there.
That's the key, Emily, the pretzel.
Yes, I know.
Okay, so there you go. Just,
So my name is Chris Race. I'm one of the owners and operators over at the Barley Beach House. I believe last time I was here was February of this year. I proposed this menu that you're seeing here today, as well as a couple events that we propose to do this year. So today I'm just gonna kind of recap everything on the menu and go through some of the events and talk a little bit about the beach deck. As far as the menu items go, a lot of the items that we have on this were here last year or the previous year. We had a lot of people asking us about the pizza, so we brought the pizzas back. We're doing some poke bowls this year also. As far as the entrees go, we're gonna be adding some more seafood items. We're gonna make the paella larger. We're gonna be adding a seafood boil and a crawfish boil. Those are those new items. And everything else is pretty much a staple of what we're doing over at the restaurant. The Northgate building, we'll be getting the Northgate building open this year. We're gonna be calling it Juicy's Pizza Cafe or Juice Bar and Food. We're gonna be doing fresh pressed juices there, which I believe I brought to one of the commission meetings last time. And we actually just, we started selling them. We had an event for Easter in the park. We did pancakes in the park, and we had a Easter hunt for the kids. So we were test running all the juice products for Juicy's there, and the reaction from people were great. So people seem to love them. So we think that we're going in the right direction with that. So we're excited to get that off the ground and going this year. We plan on getting it open for the 6th and the 7th for the Arts Festival in the park, and we're also gonna try to get it, we're gonna have it open again for the Beer Fest on the 13th, and then after that, it'll be open from Memorial Day to Labor Day. We're gonna keep it open 7 days a week, weather permitting. If the weather's really bad, it might, you know, we might keep it closed for the day. As far as the events go, Debbie, I think I did something here. As far as, oh, I got it. As far as the events go, Arts in the Park is gonna be the first one that's coming up. Like I said, we had an Easter event, but May 6th and May 7th, this is the first year that we're gonna be doing this event. We have about 44 artists now. We're trying to squeeze in a couple more. Some are local, but a lot of them are not local. They're out of state. We have some people coming from Boston and Connecticut, all over Connecticut to the area, so I'd be interested to see what they bring to the table when they come. It's a free event to the public. There'll be live music and food, so if anybody's passing by, it'd be good to check it out and support them. We're hoping that this is an event that we can grow year over year. The next event that we have here is our Craft Beer Festival, Suds on the Sound. It's also the kickoff of Craft Beer Week, so we figure it's a perfect week to have a craft beer festival. We have over 50 different breweries attending, over 100 different samples of beer. We had about 1,200 people last year. We added a couple things this year. We added 50 shopping vendors, so there'll be, in addition to all the drinking and the music and everything else that's going on, we added a couple carnival games and shopping vendors. So we'll have everything from like women's jewelry, men's clothing, hats, woodworkers, a whole bunch of things to do in between the event. The Rosé All Day event is going to be June 10th from 6 to 9. This is an event that we did last year. It's sponsored by one of our wine companies, Rosé All Day. We did this event on the beach deck, and it was, I mean, last year was like the perfect day on the beach with it. We do our giant charcuterie board. We make a bunch of rosé themed cocktails and drinks. We have food and live music. It's just good day. Hope for good weather on that one. We'll all be happy. Next event that we have is the week after, is our FDNY 343 ride. This is a charity event. We try to go to all the local firehouses and get them to come down and support. The money raised from this event is for veterans that need wheelchairs or service dogs or have medical bills or need housing. The money gets allocated for several different reasons for the people that they choose to donate the money to. We have live music with Shillelagh Law that day, so we're just encouraging people, you know, to come down with their families and, you know, pets to come hang out in the park for a day in the park and just hang out for some music and, you know, help us try to build on the charity event. I think last year we raised about just under $7,000. I think it was $6,800. So this year we're hoping that we could, you know, get that number up to about 10,000 would be our goal. Our summer kickoff party is June 24th. It's the day after the actual summer starts. So this is just a fun event for everybody. Again, it's another free one for the public. We get Hawaiian dancers, we have a DJ, we have live music, we do a pig roast. And I also call it our sponsorship party because we get all our sponsors that we pick up for the year. They come and they give out a whole bunch of giveaways and everything. So it's just kind of like a full day of activities and funds. The Hawaiian dancers do 2 shows, one at 3 o'clock and one at 6 o'clock. So if you're hanging out for the day, you could catch one, if not both of them. July 4th, we did this last year on the beach deck. We basically took our sunset buffet and just added an additional day on it for July 4th, where we do food on the beach deck and live music, and we obviously have the best fireworks show that I've ever seen, being right under it and being able to see the shows across from Long Island to New York City. You could see almost 10 shows in one night. So we're gonna do that again. We do a barbecue chicken roast and live music. So for $40 a person, I feel like you can't beat that deal on the beach. It's just amazing if you have no plans.
This is just on the beach.
That's on the beach deck.
So you need to buy a ticket, you need to buy a beach pass.
So you guys don't sell beach passes after 6 o'clock, and I know that your rules change a little bit with getting access on and off the beach. So what we do is we put it up on Eventbrite, and we charge people for the food there, and that gets them their ticket to get onto our beach deck.
Okay.
There's no additional fee, correct me if I'm wrong, Russ, to get onto the beach after 6 o'clock.
That's a deal. That's a
Killer deal.
Yeah.
I feel like most of the ones that we do are really good deals. Our Sunset Beach Dinner, similar to the fireworks show. I think it's gonna be 35 a person. It was 30 last year. We put out a island buffet every Friday. We had the same buffet last year. We're gonna rotate that buffet this year, so we're gonna have 2 different style of buffets that we're gonna be putting out there. And then the last Friday of every month, we're also gonna do a pig roast. So in 1 month, there'll be 3 buffets for the fireworks shows, and I believe it goes from July 7th, and the last one is September 1st. Again, we'll have live music for every one of those events also on the beach deck. Next event, this is gonna be a new one for us. One of my vendors that does artwork suggested that we do a sip and paint event on the beach, so we thought it would be cool to, again, do something on the beach deck where we could put out charcuterie, have some drinks, and then she's gonna set up shop with canvases and paint, and we're gonna do a whole paint thing where we paint the Long Island Sound. So it's gonna be the first time we do it, so we're hoping we get a good turnout for it and good weather and make a day of it. A reggae rum punch party. We did this event last year. This is also on the beach deck. We had this band Royal Chaos last year. Everybody said that they were amazing. Unfortunately, this is the one event that I missed last year, which really upset about. But we do reggae music, we do an island buffet, and we get a couple rum sponsors to come and give out giveaways and just have a nice little party on the beach deck. Lastly, our wine walk, which is similar to our craft beer festival, where we're doing 50 different vineyards and about 100 different tastings of wine, as well as 50 to 60 shop vendors that'll be in the park and live music. This event is sponsored by the Peak, so we try to get some Peak performances for this show also. And that'll be in September. I know last time I was here, I was telling you guys I was working on something for Halloween in October. Still working on that. It's changing drastically in my head, so I don't have that put together yet for you guys. So when I do, I'll make sure to bring it over to you guys. So that's it for all the events that I have. Sorry, I gotta coincide with my notes over here. Last topic that I need to bring up is obviously would be the beach deck situation that we had going on.
Before you do that, Chris, we have to vote on the menu. Not that it's a big deal,
Yeah.
but that's something that we generally do.
Okay.
May I have a motion and a second to approve the menu as presented?
Motion to approve. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Good.
Rolling right into the beach deck.
Rolling right into the beach deck. So we had a couple issues with the beach deck with some of the permitting and stuff, so we went through the process to go to the City of Rye Planning Commission and the board to make sure that we ironed everything out. So we got our wetland permitting, our outdoor dining plan layout, and we applied for a temporary tent. We have all the approvals from the commission, so with your approvals here today, we would be seeking final approvals from building department inspections and the fire department, just, I guess, the municipalities to make sure everything's safe for the public. So we're seeking approval for a temporary outdoor dining structure, which is what we're gonna call the Barley Beach deck. The deck is 40 feet by 32 feet when it's fully constructed. The deck was built out of 40 individual 8x4 platforms that could be broken down and stored seasonally or in an emergency. We're we will be removing the beach deck this year and every year going forward. So we will be installing and breaking down the beach deck no sooner than April 15th, and we plan on having it removed no later than October 15th each year. In coordinates with the beach deck, we're also seeking permission to put a 20 by 40 tent adjacent to the beach deck, pending all approvals from the building department, fire department. Being that the structure is going to be broken down and installed every year, we're proposing that the fencing space remains the same as it originally was proposed, which is 96 by 52 feet. After any oral approvals, the beach deck structure and tent would also need to be approved by the building department and the City of Rye Planning Commission.
Can you tell me what we had last year?
As far as,
I guess the fence.
so I can't tell you exactly what we had last year because I know that it was kind of a topic of conversation, but let me scroll down here for you too, so you could see some images that I have here. You can see this, right? So if
We
you
have,
look at,
we have that.
Yep, so if you look at your overhead image, you can see where the beach deck sits over here. This blue space to the left would be where we would be proposing to put the tent. This gray area in the back was always kind of like a gray area for us, and I think when we were having this conversation, because that area in the back is useless to us,
Right.
because it sits too close to the restaurant wall, and that's where the wall is kind of like crumbled and came down, so it's not flat there. It's too close to the bench seating in the pavilion, and in addition, when there is flooding on the beach over there, the water runs across the building and along that seawall, so we don't want to keep anything over there, and we don't use that space. So if you look at the two arrows that I put here, this would be the 96 across, and this would be the 52 in front. And being that it's gonna be picked up and moved every year, I think that we should keep it at the back of the beach deck area forward the 52 feet and pretty much, you know, the center from left to right for the 96.
I think I have a similar concern to Emily's. I can't tell how this compares to what we saw on the beach last year. And that was something that we had concerns about, and we did have a discussion about it. And it's very, very difficult to tell how what you're sketching out now expands or diminishes any of the dimensions of last year. And that's really key to my understanding of what you're asking for.
I think, I'm trying to remember where we were at last year. I think I was like 10 feet too far in front last year, if I could remember. Again, the only reason why I picked these dimensions and spaces is just to have flow as far as on the side, you know, especially if we're gonna be able to put the tent there to have people walk through. I've never had an issue with somebody telling me that it was too close to the beach and too close to the water. I mean, as far as, you know, I understand your perception of it and where your concerns are for it. I've never had an issue with it. I'm pretty sure Russ can tell you he's never had an issue with the fencing. I don't know from last year what it was that you guys actually were also asking for. So I know that at some point it was too far out, or we were talking about making. We did. It was
yeah.
a couple.
So I
of
think
them.
that the concern was always and remains that this is in the center of the beach, right? And so if somebody is just coming to the beach, or if the beach is full, this is really, you're gonna need to walk all the way around it to get to the other side.
You don't even need to walk all the way around. You could walk up against the wall.
What do you mean? Can you show me on the screen up there?
Where the gray
This-
area
this- Yeah, this whole area, this is open. You know, you could
But
walk.
it's fenced in, right?
No,
It doesn't need to, I don't need to block the wall. I mean, it could be, I could have a walkthrough over there.
Well, I mean, I guess,
it's not,
I don't wanna walk through, I guess it's just this
can
idea of like.
can I interrupt
Yeah,
one
sure.
second to a question? Is there any objection to actually the size of the deck itself? We're just talking about the fencing,
Well, I think
correct?
the critical thing here is that we measured last year, we took pictures, we had a conversation, and so I was looking for a reference point.
Yeah, I don't understand what this will look like on the beach. I can't see where the water line is. I don't know what the overall use of space is. And my, I'm sorry?
Perhaps show the photo.
Well, that's from last year, right? So the question is this bigger, or is this the same size as last year? And so if it's smaller, that's great.
Yeah, that's a photo.
That's last year. And it's beautiful, and it was on the cover of that calendar, and I was like, wow, are we in like, you know,
Yeah, and that's,
the Bahamas?
I feel like if the concern is walking around it, that's never, I've never had a complaint or an issue with somebody getting around it. If it's the water, I mean, the water comes up and comes down.
Nobody's gonna walk up to you and say, how could this be? It's up to us to decide how it's gonna be.
So one,
It's just
What
very,
is
very,
it-
very hard to do without reference to what we saw on the beach last year. And I would really appreciate it if we could do this in terms of an overlay diagram that shows us what we had last year and what we're being asked to approve this year. But just looking at the box and the dimensions doesn't really put me in a position to say yay or nay.
how large is this area compared to last year? I understand what
It's
Josh
the-
is asking.
It's
If there's-
it's the same exact space. Same, I could take 10 feet off the front, I just don't know what's gonna suffice, you know what I mean? So, I can put, you know, I don't wanna say this without talking to my partners, but I can cut the whole fence off in the front and take a little bit more on the side if I needed to, you
I
know,
don't-
for my events and stuff.
I'm trying to comprehend what Josh and Emily are looking at, because my view is, personally, I never had any problem with this. And in terms of the area between the fence and the water, always seemed okay to me. And I was at the beach a lot of times. But I understand their concern. Russ, did you notice, has anybody ever said anything to you? Was there any problem in people moving back and forth?
In that regard, no, but I'm not sure if I can clarify this or just muddy the waters here, but my understanding is that the commission approved an area, square footage wise, for this operation on the beach, which is 96 by 52, right? And my contention is that because I don't know if we can possibly compare what we're gonna do this year to what they're gonna do this year to what last year, but you approved a space 96 by 52. And from my discussions with Chris, that's what he's gonna put on the beach.
All right, so he's putting on the beach what we approved last time.
And again, you have to go back to the videotape, you know, but that's my understanding, that the commission approved space on the beach to 96 by 52.
My recollection is that we had an originally approved space, and then Chris and his partners put up something bigger than that.
Yes, that's what I
Correct?
remember.
Right, but now this reflects the original approval, not the expanded approval,
Right, so.
not the expanded unapproval.
It
Am I
was-
correct?
Not really. When you, yes but no. The originally approved
believe
space was, the originally approved space was 96 by 52. The beach deck is only 30 by 40. So we're within that space. I think from last year, the problem was, it goes back to this wall. Because the original space that was measured, it was measured from this inlet here where the wall broke down and fell apart. It was measured forward from here. So there's, from the wall to the beach deck, just at this corner, is about 10 feet. From here from that little inlet to the beach deck over here is like 15 to 20 feet, because it goes in. So we're losing all this space right off the bat. So if you take it from the beach deck, we're well within our original proposed space.
Can I make a suggestion? You know, this beach deck was operating last year without any problem. I think that we should continue, approve this. If there's a problem that comes up in its operation, we can keep track of it and then make a change if necessary. Because we're approving this for 1 year. We're only approving it for this season. And I think we deserve, or he deserves, to have the chance to operate this thing as he sees fit. And if there's a problem, we can unresolve.
Gary, I'd love to agree, but I'm finding myself blind. That is, the description that Chris just provided with measurements starting from the wall, the inlet, inset portion, but now we're going to be 15 feet out. That shows me a box, and or leads me to think we're looking at a box that's moved 15 feet closer to the water. And my concern last year was that at high tide, the space between the edge of the deck and the water made our nice wide sand beach constricted, and was not something that I thought we should do. So
Let me-
I can't agree to that.
All right,
If-
there are
if-
two things then, Josh. Number one, we're gonna have more sand this year, so there should be more space. Other than that, I don't think there's a,
Yeah, if you're looking at the,
I don't think that there's a,
yeah, this was the, this was the July 19th, 2022 meeting. If we all wanna take a minute to go there, this is what it was about. I mean, we could figure out exactly what was happening if we, without making him wait, I think, or without making you wait to another meeting. Debbie, can you pull these up somehow? Can we get to the bottom of this right now? I'm on my phone, so it's hard.
Minutes or the video?
So the minutes, maybe minutes, or, I'm having slow connection. But it was July 19th. I'm looking at the same picture of that tent. 2022, beach deck pick 1, beach deck pick 2. It's the same picture of the deck. I'm looking at the agenda right now. Right, and here was, I think, one of the problems was the yellow fence, right? Certainly didn't look rectangle.
It actually shows up
Oh,
in the
there,
maps.
look at that, that's
It's
amazing,
on, like, Google
that is
Maps.
incredible.
Like on it, so you can see it was pushed all the way to one side of the fence. And almost to the
You want me to try to get it
center.
up on the,
Seems like the fence,
do you want me to
Yeah,
try
the
to
fence, I
find
believe the
it
fence
on-
was like right up against the right side.
to basically the apex of the,
Is that on Google Maps?
yeah, this, whatever is on my phone, yeah.
Original approved
Google Maps,
space.
yeah.
From the.
That's on
from
Google
July?
Maps. And then here's the minutes from July.
Right, so what you're saying is, the original approved space, according to the last meeting, is this picture right in here, which you have a slide
Correct,
of,
yep.
okay? So that's helpful to know. So you're saying that, I remember this conversation because you changed the layout of the space, right? Because like you said, you can't use this. This is not usable space.
Originally you had the space and there was no beach deck there,
So-
so the first year we operated with the space, it was kind of like, nobody wanted to sit there because they were just sitting in the beach anyway, it was kind of a pointless space to have.
it was all
Right.
on
So
the
then
same
that's when we
first.
decided to add the beach deck, which is 30 by 40, and we kind of centered it in that space. And then the
Okay.
problem is that back wall area,
Yeah.
again, it's a,
And there was a slide from that meeting that was really helpful because there's an overlay of this. This was helpful for everybody, I think, at that last meeting, see this,
Right of where it was
where
gonna
it
be. within
actually
the-
is versus where it was taken.
And I think our suggestion was rather than, well, so are you planning to extend out now to completely fill the box?
Sorry, he's looking at this picture, which.
are you talking with the fence?
Yes.
I'm sorry, the tent?
No, the fence.
With the seating, with the tables.
Towards the water?
Yes.
No, we're not gonna add any additional seating or tables.
July 19th,
Yes,
okay. Keep going. Weird.
I'm just getting it as a regular.
You know, I would like to figure out a way, cause if we're gonna be doing this every year, the deck is gonna come up and go down. We plan on putting it pretty much in exactly the same place that it is now, but I feel like the measurement should always kinda come off the back deck, just so we have a reference point.
Emily, you said the images you're looking at, you got through the,
I'm on the Thursday.
The agenda?
Tuesday, July 19th meeting,
right, on there?
okay, and then if you just scroll down. Okay, so here we go. I'm looking now at the minutes from that meeting, presentation,
See, that's what I was
Chris
looking for.
presented the restaurant's proposal
Maybe it's not minutes that we need.
to locate a deck and tent. Commissioners Cohen and Hurd expressed concern that the fenced-in enclosure encroaches too far into the beach. commissioners plan to make a field visit to access the space in person. Sorry, so that was there a resolution?
For
Sorry.
some reason, I feel like I was 10 feet too far out last year, and
And from my perspective, if you were to say that you would pull this 10 feet in and take that on the side.
we just do that and be done with it.
That would be very nice.
I'm not sure what you're saying. My mind isn't going to the picture.
Retreat from the water 10 feet and take that, allow the deck to extend the same amount of space laterally.
So, so go off, again, off the back end of the beach deck.
Well, to make it
Go-
wider,
Instead of going out,
I think Josh
instead
is
of going
saying
out
make it,
50 feet, we
making
go
it-
out 40 feet and
making
take
it-
an extra 10 to the side if we need it.
Yes.
I think that would be okay. I think,
Well, and I think you said, it said 52 feet deep, so it's 42 feet, right? And 96 feet, so then it would be 106 feet wide.
right.
So I have a question. It has volleyball as the, you know, I know like during the volleyball leagues, is there ever an issue?
Doesn't affect volleyball.
Doesn't affect
We
volleyball?
don't, we don't even get busy for the volleyball. down
Okay, and the other concern, and not really concern, listen, you guys are fantastic and you are constantly improving and adding programming, and so I do not mean to be a pain. But my other thought when I looked at this was, you have Juicy's, which is gonna be awesome. And, you know, so there'll be no seating over there, but definitely there'll be a draw to that.
What do you mean, what do you mean necessary?
Is there, I don't know if there is seating over
It's
there.
at the north end.
Right, yeah, no, I'm just saying, like, people can get food now in two different places on the
Right.
beach, which is great.
Chris, let me
I-
ask you, Chris, the deck itself is how big?
30 by 40.
32 by 40, yeah.
32 deep and 40 wide.
Correct.
So the proposal is to make it wider and narrower, is that correct?
We're not changing the structure of the deck, we're just talking about the
The fence.
the fencing, yeah.
Right, and your concern last year was if the deck is 32 deep, you know, you wanted to have ample space
Can I,
for seating,
let me ask you another, why do you need the fence at all?
because there's.
That's,
alcohol.
well, but I
That's-
also have
that's the-
security, that was something I did bring up too. I really don't even feel the need to have the fence, because if I'm just gonna sit here and be honest, I have security that's sitting there watching the people, and to be honest, it's not like we're sniffing water bottles and, you know, patting people down
So I
going into
asked,
the
why
park.
why do we need the fence?
Because it was originally proposed in our space that we would have it fenced in.
Okay,
Russ.
we can propose or unpropose.
I don't know.
Russell?
Russell.
You know, I'm on your side, but I'm gonna respectfully disagree. The fence is necessary.
Why?
Because there's no way, you would have to have 40 security people around Lincoln Arms to prevent people from walking out onto the beach with alcohol.
Okay, let me
And
ask
this
you
is,
this.
and let me just finish. And this is the way that if you had the security people that he hires at his expense, all they have to do is hang out on the perimeter of the fence.
Can I ask you something? Wait
Yeah.
a second. Let me finish my thoughts.
Yes.
Why have the fence on the sand? Why not have the fence on the deck? For example, a wooden, where you can put it up and take it down, like not a picket fence, what do you call it, a rail.
The deck is pretty much fenced in already, because it has built-in bench seating, I mean, there's a couple openings.
What I'm saying is, if you wanna put benches around it, so that all of your security is on the deck itself.
Blankets,
And in fact, that would even allow you for a larger deck, taking up less space on the beach than this fence would. You could get more seating on the deck, you would have nothing, you would be eliminating Josh and Emily's concern about that area being, too close to the water. I'm saying you could have a larger deck with a fence built onto the deck in some way, getting more seating, and you have equal or better security, because you're not gonna have people walking between the fence and the deck. They're either on the sand or they're on the deck. I'm asking. I'm playing architect.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
I think I see where you're coming with it, but I think I'd have to have it designed and built, which
Right.
I don't know how.
You already have it built.
And then I'd have to,
I would say that clearly we need the fencing for reasons explained by Russ. I wonder whether you can, and I think we could alleviate multiple concerns here, because I'm sure I'm assuming you're using the beach space between the deck and the fence for some of the larger
we-
events, the nighttime things.
yeah, we set up, well, throughout the course of the day, we set up just chairs for the public to use over there. They're Adirondack chairs. So my reasoning for me last year to take that extra 10 feet in front of the deck was to allow enough room for people to walk past them. If I suck that fence in towards the beach deck, and then you put a chair there, you can't walk through. So it kind of eliminates that whole front area of where we're gonna put chairs.
Okay, so you are using that during the day, not just in the evenings.
Correct.
Okay, because I was gonna suggest maybe that it's
Yeah, no,
something
we
that
set
you-
up, so the front of the
You're
beach,
not-
let me see if I have it set up.
But Chris, couldn't you put Mayor Cohn's suggestion was that you come in 10 feet, but you extend 10 feet longer? So couldn't you put the Adirondack chairs in that area?
Yeah, I mean, we could do,
How often do you use the space between the deck and the fence?
we set it up every single day. So whether we use it or not, it's set up for the public to come in and sit
I
there.
visited 2 or 3 times and really saw the deck generally underpopulated, and I don't think I ever saw anyone sitting in the Adirondack chairs out on the sand.
Right. Which is why last year, where I had the tent proposed this year, we weren't even using that extra space on the side.
Well,
So,
I think that we're gonna be taking the deck, we're gonna be picking the deck up and putting it down every year. I'd like to come up with a simple situation where we measure off the back deck, we know where the seawall is. I'm always gonna be about 10 feet off the seawall. If my deck is 30 wide and I go, 40 out instead of 50 out, I think that's okay. I think we'll be able, it's gonna feel a little squished in the front,
Is the, I don't recall, is the fencing up now or just the deck?
No.
I didn't think so. I didn't remember seeing it. Look, I'd like to move on, and the way I'd like to move on is this. Josh and Emily are not in favor of this plan as currently proposed, is that correct?
correct.
Okay. So, the deck is out there now, right?
I don't have a problem with the deck.
The deck is out there now. So let's leave it sit as it is. We'll revisit this next month, and in the meantime, we'll try to come up with an idea that is going to satisfy all parties.
I'm sorry, just to interrupt quickly, I mean, what we're talking about here in the resolution is the deck and the tent, and it's not really talking about the fence. So I think, and I
Right.
think that the issue with last year is that we had this conversation, we visited, we discussed, I can't remember, you didn't ever move the fence, right?
No, we did, we sucked, we brought it in 10 feet.
Okay, I didn't see in my quick overview on my phone of the minutes,
Emily,
or the agendas.
Emily,
Yeah.
that was a really good pickup.
Yeah.
That was a really good pickup.
Thank
The
you.
resolution does not talk about the fence. So we can approve this as it is, because we're not proposing moving the deck,
Right.
right? So we can propose this as it is, and then come back and decide what additional, as far as doing the fence, where it would go, and even what kind of a fence that we would have.
One other thing I'd just like to add, I was thinking I would love to have it be a subject of conversation at the community conversation. I would love to know what beachgoers think about access on the beach, you know. And
Well, we could
I
bring
can
that
only
up.
talk to one user because I texted my wife while we were having this
Oh, good.
discussion. Because she went a lot
to the beach or the,
to the beach.
okay. what
And I
did she
said,
say?
did you ever find it to be a nuisance? And she said no. But I can only speak to one.
Well, there's one data point, that's great.
A question for you, Chris.
One individual.
Looking at this picture.
Yes.
The deck ends, there's sand, and then there's the fence. So that deck was built a certain dimension from the wall itself. There was no gap between the deck and the wall. Now, if we take into account the gap that's gonna be between the wall and the deck, where in that picture would the outer limit of the wooden structure be? Would it be where the fence line is in that picture?
I don't know if I'm answering your question 100%, but the deck has always been about 10 feet off of the seawall.
Joshua was not on the wall, it's
Yes,
always been where it
It's
is.
still off the
Oh,
seawall.
okay.
Yeah, because it, yeah.
That looks different than what I have because it shows so much more room on the side.
Okay, so we're talking about a deck that essentially, if we can go back to the picture before,
Yeah.
we're talking about a deck that ends in the same place as the deck in
You
the.
could take it down, Dick.
The back of the deck is basically right over here, right at the bottom of this pole, and that's 10 feet back towards the wall.
There's no change where the deck is located,
Oh, yeah.
it's always been 10 feet off.
And there's no
There's no change, no.
Okay,
All right.
then I'm
Jay-
good with that.
You're good with that? Okay. Let's have Jason has to leave, so.
I'm sorry.
Hold it. First, you're gonna vote. May I have a motion and a second to approve the resolution as written? Second? Second?
Second.
Thank you. Please call the roll, Debbie.
Commissioner Klein?
Yes. Sorry, you've gone the other way. We're out of time. I wasn't prepared.
Of course, you have to leave, so now you can go.
Yes. Thank you.
Commissioner Hurd?
Yes.
Commissioner Cohn?
Yes.
Acting Commissioner Graduate Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson?
Yes.
President Zuckerman?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, everybody. This was a good discussion. Okay, we have the management report. There's some highlights in there. Russ, do you want to go over any of the highlights, or?
But I'm prepared to answer any questions if anybody has any questions.
The one thing that I wanted to highlight is the fact that the sand spreading this year was done by the Village of Amerenik. I don't know if you had all been aware of that or not, but the Village of Amerenik Parks Department.
I call it
uh,
leveling.
Pardon me?
Leveling. They leveled the beach.
Leveling, yeah. Jeff On of the village pursuant to a resolution that their board graciously passed and carried out by Jeff and the village manager, et cetera, and all of their people, leveled the beach for us. And this saved us, we have $30,000 in the budget for the beach leveling this year. That usually is done by MTS, and we will be saving that money.
Fantastic.
And again, publicly, thank you to the Village of Amerenik. We had helped, the town had helped them greatly during Hurricane Ida, right? Confuse all the hurricanes we've had. And this shows true intermunicipal cooperation, and we really appreciate it. So I wanted to mention that. So we had some good news. As you're aware, we were threatened with not beach opening by the Department of Health for two reasons. One was we needed to install water heaters to heat the water in the ladies' tunnel bathroom and the north bathrooms. And we put those water heaters in our budget, and the water has been turned on, and the heaters should be installed possibly by the end of this week, which will take care of problem number one. Problem number two, the men's bathroom, which we call the tunnel bathroom, was found to be severely wanting, and obviously we knew that we weren't gonna repair that old bathroom and the staircase, and we had previously requested grant money to put new tunnel bathrooms, men's, I guess it's three, the men's, women's, and gender neutral, correct, Deb? Or just men's and gender neutral?
The application was to add a men's room replacing kind, and we have room for a gender neutral
Correct, so the women.
family bathroom.
So the women and families can use that.
Correct.
Number one, we had previously gotten approval that would be satisfactory in terms of the idea, so they weren't gonna prevent us from opening in 2023. But we received word this week, number one, the Department of Health formally approved our bathroom plan as submitted by Gary G. and Francisco. So that will be approved. The problem there is you have to install the same number of fixtures you're losing, et cetera. So there was an issue, and that's been resolved and approved. And even more importantly, Debbie, I'll let you give the good news on this one.
Well, the funding for this program is coming from a low cap grant, which was arranged by State Senator Shelley Mayer. And as of today, I learned that we can proceed to spend capital on this project and expect to be reimbursed. So we'll full steam
We're
ahead.
ready to go full steam ahead.
We've
on
got
the
1 year to
tunnel
get a
baths.
bathroom in there.
Right.
Yeah.
So, that is really good news. So I want to let you all know that. Okay. Any other questions? If not, a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, our next meeting is May 16th, and the community conversation is May 20th.